Christmas came early in the NFL because last week was an amazing week of football. Best of the year, multiple overtime games, controversial finishes. We had a team rally from 33 points down. It was absolutely wild, and we're going to talk about all that today and more. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo. Just in case you did not know, so go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. As always, we're going to start with my power rankings before we look on to week 16. So let's go ahead and get into it with the bottom of the barrel being the Houston Texans. This has been a very competitive Houston Texans team last couple of weeks. Taking the Chiefs to overtime, and the week prior almost beating the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, man, I was tempted to just move them up for that very fact, but we're gonna keep them here. I mean, these are basically the bottom of the bottom. They only have one win this season, but yeah, no, they were impressive nonetheless. I will say it's nice seeing life in this football team and them keeping games competitive. It's made Texans football not must watch, but will watch. Now the Rams, they went ahead. The Baker fairy tale in Los Angeles, it's over. They went to Green Bay and lost. Never really were in control of that game really much ever. I mean, it was just a game against two bad teams, and the less worse team came out victor. The Rams, I know they're beat up, they're hurt, and they're a shell of what that team looked like just a year ago when they won the Super Bowl. Now, the Arizona Cardinals, another team suffering from injury, one being mainly the quarterback position with Kyler Murray, though it sounds like they're very, how would you say, optimistic that he will return at some point for the 2023 NFL season. But for all intents and purposes, their season is over. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, didn't even bother watching the Denver-Arizona game. It was a battle between two backup quarterbacks. I saw someone on Twitter just say it was basically like watching a preseason game. Couldn't tell you, didn't watch it. I just know both those teams aren't very good at the moment. But yeah, Cardinals be looking to they got a lot of questions they're gonna have to answer in the offseason. Do they want to move forward with this coaching staff? And how are they going to basically kind of like not even necessarily rebuild, but obviously they're missing a lot of firepower on the defensive side in terms of pass rush, and at the corner position just lacks a lot of talent. The offensive line might need a little rework. So a lot of questions. Did bump the Chicago Bears up, though, a few spots because holy freaking moly, man. They came out, they played a competitive game against Philly. Kind of like unnerved Jalen Hurts start the game with two, I think it was like back-to-back interceptions. You know, eventually the Eagles got their foot in, but it was nice to see this team be competitive, and Justin Fields still just looks fantastic. There we go. The Colts, man, I kind of wanted to bump them down more. They were up 33-0 on the Minnesota Vikings. End up losing the game in overtime, 39-36. Absolutely wild. Like, this is team, like, what they've given up. What they gave up. I mean, all 39 points were scored in the second half against the Colts. And then the prior they had the bye, and then the prior game against the Cowboys, they allowed what? 33. Oh my gosh, what a number. They allowed 33 points the prior week the prior game in the fourth quarter to the Cowboys. They allow 39 in the second half. Oh my gosh, that's wild. So they have given up 72 points in the second half of the last two games. wild. Yeah, this team isn't probably about to be in the midst of a rebuild, though they do have some talented parts. It might not be as significant as a rebuild as some may think, but yeah, they're just not a good team this season. The Broncos, they got a game. They won a game without Russell Wilson. It was against a very bad team that was missing their star quarterback. Enough said. The Atlanta Falcons, first start for Desmond Ridder. Actually, something worthy to talk about. He came to the game, looked like he had the jitters, looked like he had butterflies in the stomach, and while he didn't get much better for the rest of the game, you could tell he got more comfortable. I'm excited to see how he looks moving forward, and depending on where they'll end up drafting, then they could end up going quarterback. I think that's a possibility, but if they like enough of what they've seen with Desmond Ridder, then shoot, cool. Have him be the starter next season, but I think he probably looked as most people expected he would. Yeah, but I think it's also worth noting that they're only a game out of the division, so they could end up winning the division, and that's kind of why I have the Saints here, only one spot ahead of the Falcons. Getting the win here. They still start Andy Dalton for some weird reason. I think Taysom Hill, did he have a passing TD in this game? Yeah, it was to the rookie. What's the rookie's name? Can't think of it off the top of my head. Shaheed. So, yeah, he had 3 receptions, 95 yards. Good for him. But still, a lot of the veterans for the Saints aren't playing good football this year. You can tell on that defense. You'll see a few of them. Like, this team's just kind of underperforming. They don't have a solid quarterback to really go to. So, yeah. On to 24 as we have the Carolina Panthers. Not moving any spots because currently they I think they're in the best spot when it comes to the division. Well, best spot outside of the Bucks. Bucks just need to win games, but that has been difficult. Yeah, because they're currently 3-1 in the division. That's tied with the Buccaneers 3-1, but remember, Panthers do have a win over the Bucks. They will face the Bucks in a couple of weeks. They do get the Lions this week. I feel like they'll probably drop that game, but if they can win back-to-back games like to end the year against the Bucks and the Saints, they could very well win that division. And the Cleveland Browns, like, they got to win over a Ravens team that's lost without Lamar Jackson. So it's like there's not really much to pull outside of some of the rookies are looking good for the Cleveland Browns, like MJ Emerson. I've been really impressed with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, it just looks like he's done with the season, dude. He looks checked out. Still managed to get the win because they are the better team at this point, but just looks checked out. Romeo Doubs, though, did look good returning. Steelers, Mitch Trubisky got the win here. Let's be fair, it wasn't Mitch Trubisky, really. It was, just solid ground game performance by the Steelers. Najee Harris finally had a solid outing this year, and that front four for the Steelers defensively just wreaked havoc. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looked alive for the very first time in that first half against the Bengals, and then all hope was lost. I was constantly hearing Who Dey chants, and this game was in Tampa. Like, the Bucs couldn't get the ball past the 50-yard line. They had 2 costly turnovers early in that third quarter, and that Bengals team was probably playing one of their worst games since the start of the season. I don't know what yeah, man. Let's just say this team's not trending in a good direction. Now, finally, something fun to talk about. So, the Raiders here had the best finish of any game So it's tied up at 34. And I guess for the most part, Ramondre Stevenson was supposed to run the football, and when you go down, go down. And then things turned to chaos when he lateraled the ball back to Jacoby Myers, who then backtracked and proceeded to throw one of the ugliest passes. And I only say that it's ugly because that was supposed to be to Mac Jones. And it was, we all know, that was a lot closer to Chandler Jones than Mac Jones, if anything. Mac Jones probably could have done a little more to contest it, but to be fair, there were a lot of Raiders in that vicinity, so I feel like that was going to be the end result regardless. But anyway, Chandler Jones intercepts the lateral from Jacoby Myers, proceeds to I didn't know that Chandler Jones hated soul food, because then he proceeded to throw mac and cheese into the dirt. Like, a stiff arm for the ages may have ended Mac Jones's career. We might be seeing Bailey Zappi the rest of the year. And I'm not saying Mac Jones is hurt, but he's probably hurting inside. And yeah, ran it back for a tutty. It was one of the, I don't know if you could find a more wild finish to a game, or a more wild last play to a game, at least in recent memory, if ever. It was nuts. The Raiders, man, like, they're mid. They're just a mid team, you know. I don't want to say they're kind of figuring things out, but they're still not that good of a team. But they're good enough in some instances. But yeah, good win for the Raiders. Good win. I think there was also a controversial call on the previous drive when it came to Keelan Cole, foot being out of bounds, but it is what it is. Jaguars on a roll. They were down early in this game. I think going to halftime, wasn't it like 21-7, and then it was 24-10 at some point, and then Trevor Lawrence, man, has looked fabulous this year. He is starting to look like the quarterback everyone thought him as such coming out in the draft. Like, he started the year real feast or famine, but now he's just been putting out banger after banger after banger after banger. Sounded like Sheamus here out there for you wrestling fans. But there is a real chance that they could win the division, because the Tennessee Titans have really sucked. Last game of the year, Jacksonville versus Tennessee in Duval. Yo, watch out, Tennessee. I'm excited about the Jaguars team. Speaking of Tennessee, they continue to crumble. No signs of life on offense outside of Derrick Henry, but once teams figure that out, he's typically shut down in the second half. The defense that's already struggled with some injuries. Their play, while it hasn't been bad this year, it's not been great in recent weeks. So yeah, Tennessee, man, is one of these descending teams. I really don't know what to do with that squad after the season, because I'm not gonna lie, I'd consider blowing that up, at least offensively. Offensively, it's not great. And on to the best half of the NFL with the Washington Commanders. And I'm going to say it flat out, the Giants deserve to win that game. Commanders, you got screwed at the end, but the Giants played a better football game. Now, when it comes to the Terry McLaurin offsides, not even offsides, illegal formation, wasn't lined up. At this point, it's going to be like he say, she say. Terry McLaurin was like, I checked in with the ref. He said I need to move up. I moved up, checked in with him again, though he didn't turn his head, but he said he heard the ref say, you're good. I don't know if the ref put out a statement, but I know the NFL did already. And yeah, again, you're getting a he say, she say thing. Then, like, okay, they call that despite, like, it is real wonky, because you don't want penalties to really decide the end of games, because they did score on that. They would be going for the 2-point conversion to tie the game up. However, instead, on the last play, it was a not too obvious pass interference when you go to The replay and slow-mo, it looks way more blatant on Darnay Holmes. But I mean, I can understand the no call. Like, it's at the end of the game. You kind of want the players to decide the end of the game, the finish. And I know some of y'all are going to be scoffing after I just talked about the whole illegal formation call. You want the players to decide the game. Yeah, you're good. Flag. But when it comes to the pass interference, like, yeah, you don't want to, like, I tend to prefer, because you'll see this a lot in college football, that they'll let players kind of rough it out. They'll let them get away with a little bit more, especially at the end of close games. They'll let them play a little bit more physical. And I don't think the non-call on the pass interference is too outrageous in this case. If anything, I think the bigger talking point is definitely the illegal formation call and what exactly went down there. But very unfortunate. The defense played a good game. When it comes to Taylor Heineke, you're gonna live or die by his gunslinger mentality. That's just the facts of the case. New York Jets couldn't get it done against the Detroit Lions. Zach Wilson looked. There were some throws of brilliance, and other times it was just meh. Don't think Mike White's going to be good to go with the short week. Again, they play again Thursday night against Jacksonville, and it's kind of a big game for both, like must win for both teams, because the Jets, they're trying to get in via the wild card, and now they are a game behind both the Dolphins and the Chargers. And you got the Jags, who can get in not via the wild card, but via winning the division. So two different scenarios, but it's gonna be a good game. Zach Wilson, we'll see what he can do. It'll be a battle between number one, the number 1 overall pick and the number 2 overall pick back in 2021. It'll be very interesting. Giants, hey, they came out and played a really good game. Defensively, they looked exceptional. They were consistently getting pressure. You had the defensive tutty from KT. Offensively, again, I'm telling you, this offense is at its best when Saquon Barkley could run successfully. You can't put I'm dead honest. I don't think you could really put the game on the back of Daniel Jones. And then I know some people will be bringing up, he has multiple game-winning drives this season. I'm talking about if you're in a matchup like if they're in a scenario where he is going to have to score points, I don't think he can do it. I really don't. Be like, well, he doesn't really have the weapons. Even if he did, I don't buy into him. I don't buy into Daniel Jones, man. I don't think he's a good long-term option for the Giants, but good win by the Giants. Patriots, very embarrassing way to end the year, but hey, Ramondre Stevenson came back, looked really good. Defense hasn't played entirely well the past few weeks. As we were used to seeing them at the first half of the season. They kind of got to get together, especially with that offense. That's really, if Ramondre ain't cooking, then Mac Jones ain't. I'm just saying, the noodles and the mac and cheese aren't boiled. They're raw. They're raw. Mac Jones ain't cooking. Seattle Seahawks, you might be surprised to see the Seahawks ahead of teams like the Giants and like the Commanders, but I got a good reason. I think they're a better team. Sorry, not sorry. I think offensively, they have a bit more consistency, though they are going to take a big hit with Tyler Lockett going down. Defensively, yeah, they are very squishy. Like, they can't create turnovers, then it's going to be a long night. I mean, you saw what the Niners did to him. Christian McCaffrey was just able to easily run through that defense like a hot knife through butter. But I still firmly just think that the Seahawks are the better team, despite being they're like a game, maybe a half a game back of the wild card. They're in the NFC. They are, yeah. In fact, they're a half a game back in the wild card, 1.5 back from the 6th seed. So take that as you will. But the Detroit Lions are hot. I think this team's going to be the one that sneaks into that 7th seed. This team is hot, dude. Good luck trying to take down the Detroit Lions. Jared Goff didn't have a good game. Didn't have a bad game. You know, he just kind of came in, did his thing, played mistake-free, and it was fine. That's all they needed. It was more than enough to get it done against the Jets. And now the Detroit Lions will head to, let's see, the Panthers this week. And honestly, should be a win. I mean, they got the Bears and the Packers left on the schedule. Like, I think they could very easily go 2-1 down the stretch. So, yeah, I'm vibing with the Detroit Lions right now. Baltimore Ravens, I'm not going to bump them down too many spots. Lamar should return in the next week or two. And they're just a radically different team when Lamar's on the field. To be fair, the offense was having a bit of rough patches, like before Lamar did go down. But just the defense is playing exceptionally well, and just having a playmaker like Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position does more than enough, so it's fine. My Miami Dolphins, you know what? I was just happy to see the Dolphins have offense again after the past few weeks against the Niners and the freaking Chargers. It was just nice to see them have some offense against the Bills. This was in Buffalo, so I'm feeling better about the rest of the season when it comes to the Miami Dolphins. So, yay! Still game ahead when it comes to the playoff. That 6th, 7th seed? I think we're the 7th seed right now because Chargers have the tiebreaker. So we're a game ahead, still in that 7th seed. On to the top 8 teams. We got the Chargers getting things done. It may not always be pretty, but they're getting it done against playoff teams. The Dolphins are a playoff team. The Tennessee Titans, they don't look like a playoff team. They're going to end up being a playoff team. They've been getting things done. Justin Herbert is playing good football. Wasn't always pretty against Tennessee, but Tennessee, though their defense has been a bit hit or miss in recent weeks, they have a fairly good defense, and he was able to throw some special balls in that game, and I'm feeling good about the Chargers. The Minnesota Vikings, I'm not moving them up a spot. I'm sorry. Hey, they feel they're fraudulent. You'd be like, look at that comeback we mounted. And I'm like, it's the freaking Indianapolis Colts. The Dallas Cowboys did the same thing, but they used only one quarter. And if you don't remember, the Cowboys totally bent y'all over and just smashed y'all. So listen, I'm not ready to buy into the Vikings as a serious Super Bowl contender, but I do think they're going to be a good playoff team and fun to watch. The Dallas Cowboys, wow, Jacksonville. They were up early and just let Jacksonville come into this game and just wreak havoc, especially through the air. And speaking of fraudulent, Dallas Cowboys, kind of fraudulent team that can put up points, but like a defense that honestly should have had a better outing than they did, and Dax just doesn't, like, he's not a perfect quarterback. He's gonna throw as many turnover-worthy passes as he does big-time throws. It's just the fact of the matter. Like, they're lucky that they're likely not going to have to face Jalen Hurts this week because of like a shoulder sprain or something for Jalen Hurts. But still, man, I'm not ready to buy into the Cowboys as a legit Super Bowl contender. However, these top 5 teams, that's right. I think Brock Purdy can make a Super Bowl run because that defense is so good. Brock Purdy, for the most part, is playing mistake-free football, though he does have a few questionable passes in each game. But offensively, they're able to run the ball stupid effectively. The defense is just cutthroat. And I think in the NFC, they could definitely run the tables. The Cincinnati Bengals, they showed a lot of grit, a lot of moxie. I think I would say the Bengals are currently playing like the best team in football right now. They currently are, man. They feel like they can't be stopped. They'll get the Bills in a couple weeks. The Buffalo Bills managed to beat my Dolphins. Good for y'all. Those were two very good AFC teams, division rivals, going against one another. They were able to come away with the victory with a late drive. Broke my heart. The Kansas City Chiefs got pushed to overtime by the Texans. Like, offensively, they had a good game. Defensively, it didn't feel like they played all that bad, but just Texans stayed in that game. It was wild. I mean, to be fair, there were like 2 costly turnovers that happened on their side of the field, which resulted in points. So, okay. But I still think Kansas City's probably the best team in the AFC right now. And then the Philadelphia Eagles. Sounds like they might end up resting Jalen Hurts potentially for the rest of the season. Because until the playoffs, because what exactly? Jalen Hurts injury. It's the shoulder. Okay, I thought it was the shoulder. Sprained shoulder. Okay. But I mean, looking at this, like, technically they don't have the 1 seed locked up. I think one more win does it because they do have a tiebreaker over the Vikings. So one more game does do it. San Francisco 49ers could win. Like, honestly, Eagles just need one win. So if they feel like, if they want to, you could probably, if you want to, rest Jalen Hurts next 2 games and then play him in the finale and try to get that win there. So no need to risk a potential deep playoff run because of a quarterback injury that's largely, I think, you could prevent. Let's keep in mind, Gardner Minshew is a very good backup. He's still on the team, right? He's still with the Eagles, correct? Yes, he is still there with the Eagles. Good. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like, even with Gardner Minshew in, dude, I feel fine with his Eagles team. But yeah, they got the win. Wasn't pretty necessarily against the Bears, at least offensively, but they got it done. It is what it is. Let's go ahead and get to my predictions for Week 16, and we're gonna start with the Jaguars versus the Jets. This is even. I'm leaning Jags. Give me Trevor Lawrence over Zach Wilson. They have to win. They control their destiny. They need wins. And I think they'll get it here against a very tough defense. Over-unders 38.5. Call me crazy. I want to go with the over, as you can see. Did okay last week. Over-unders were a bit here and there. When it came to my spread, games that I bet on the spread, I found it was the games were against 2 losing teams with very little to no shot at making the playoffs. Those were the games I was kind of off on. So those are probably, like, for me here on out, probably the games I look at it and be like, maybe we don't touch this game if I'm trying to make a parlay among losing teams. But I'm going to go with the Jags. I'm going to go with the over at 38.5 as well. Going to the Saturday slate of games, Christmas Eve. We got the Buffalo Bills. I think we got a good chunk of games too. Buffalo Bills against the Chicago Bears. Bills are 9.5 or 9-point favorites. Just give me the Bills on the money line. 9 is a bit much, especially with the Bears playing the Eagles tight this past week and Justin Fields just being an absolute menace. Over-under is 41. This is in Chicago. Is it really going to be 14 degrees? Oh, my gosh. I think they could clear that. Yeah, let's go for it. Cleveland Browns, 3-point favorites over the Saints here. Call me crazy. I'm tempted. Not going to lie. I'm tempted to take the Saints. 3 points. Wow, over and under is 32.5. You got to imagine they hit the over, right? You got to imagine they could hit that. I'm leaning going with the Saints on the spread. What did I say at the beginning? Screw taking the spread with these losing teams. So just give me the Browns on the money line then. And then we go to the Texans versus the Tennessee Titans. Titans are 7-point favorites. I want to take the Texans at 7. Am I buying into these past few weeks where they were competitive against very good teams? Yes, I'm buying into it. They're playing hard for Lovey. I'll take the Texans plus 7. Over under is 38. I'm taking the under there. On to the Seattle Seahawks versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It is must win for the Seahawks. I don't know if they'll be able to do it, but I'm okay with taking the Seahawks plus 9.5. I really am. Mr. Tyler Lockett's a huge blow, though, so we'll see. I think they're going to really have to get Kenneth Walker in this run game going again. Over under is 49. I'm tempted to take the over there, and I think I will. The New York Giants will take on the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings plus 3. Giants kind of have to win, but because, I mean, you got Detroit, you got Washington, you got Seattle literally looking over your shoulder. But I'm going to just ride with Minnesota on the money line. Over-under is 47.5. I'm actually going to take the under in that game. I know the defense for the Giants for the Vikings hasn't been that good, but don't really trust the offense the Giants can produce. The Bengals, they are going into Foxborough, 3.5-point favorites. Just give me them on the money line. Over and under is 39.5. And I actually think I'm going to ride the under in that game. Am I? I really think this game could be like 24-10. I mean, that's getting close. Yeah, I'm going to ride the under in this game. The Lions will take on the Carolina Panthers. Lions are 2.5-point favorites. I will take the Lions. We're riding with the Lions, baby. We are. Over and under is 44.5. I think they could clear that. We're going to go with the over. Baltimore Ravens will take on the Atlanta Falcons. Wow, doesn't get much better for Desmond. We're having to run into this defense. Falcons should do enough to get this game even without Lamar Jackson, but maybe, I don't know, maybe things click for Desmond Ridder. I don't know. I'm going to just take Baltimore on the money line, and I'm going to go with the under in this game. Next, we got the Commanders versus the 49ers. Ugh. Sucks for the Commanders. This is kind of, you're in must-win territory, and this is an exceptionally tough matchup. I'm not going to bet against San Francisco at the stadium formerly known as Candlestick. I know Candlestick's long, dead and gone, buried to the ground, but it lives on in here. It really does. I'll take the Niners. Over and under is 39.5. I like the under in that. And then we got the Eagles versus the Cowboys. Oh, wow. News is spreading like wildfire that Jalen Hurts will not play this game. Cowboys are 6-point favorites. They were just the 1-point favorites a day ago. Now a lot of people are riding with the Cowboys. I do believe in Gardner Minshew, though. Can he cover 6? Can he cover 6? This is their first. No. Is this just their first game of the year against one another? All right. No, it was 26-17. Eagles won that. Let me see what happened. That was Cooper Rush too, though. But if I'm going to be fair, Dak turns over the ball just as much as Rush did. Yeah, they did a lot of their damage on the ground. I'm like real tempted. That 6 doesn't scare me. Like I'm thinking I do think Cowboys win, but Gardner Minshew, dude. I'm gonna believe in Uncle Rinko. Let this, you know what? Yeah, let this be my fall. Man. Golly, do I? No. Okay, let's talk about the over-under. 46.5. Some part of me actually wants to take the under there. I don't think I would touch it. I think that's really close. That's dead on, if we're being serious. Let's see, both teams. Oh my gosh, the Eagles haven't lost a game on the road. And the worst games for the Cowboys have come on the road. You know what? Let's just be safe. Take the Cowboys on the money line. And we're going with the under. All right. And then we got the Raiders versus the Steelers. Steelers, 2.5-point favorites. I'm liking the Raiders. I am. I really am. I'm not lying. I think I'm going to take the Raiders. I feel like plus 2.5 does nothing for me. So just give me the Raiders on the money line. Over under is 39.5. I feel like they could hit 40 in this game. I feel like it could be like a 27-13, 24-17 type of ball game. It's kind of close, but I'll go ahead. I'll take the over. And then on to Christmas Day, we got the Dolphins versus the Packers. They don't have odds, but I have odds. Let me pull up current odds for Packers versus Dolphins. Luckily, this one's at home, and I think it'll be a good get-right game for the Dolphins. Here we go. All right. Dolphins enter 4.5-point favorites. Just give me the Dolphins on the money line. Over and under is 46. I think they'll hit the over. And we got the Rams versus the Broncos. Let me just go ahead and find this nightmare of a game. I'm actually going to... I feel like I'm leaning... Am I leaning the Rams? I don't know if I'm leaning the Rams. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I wouldn't bet this game at all. I really want Rams 2-point favorites. Yeah, I think I'd go with that. I think I would just go with the Rams money line. Over and under is 35.5. Yeah, give me the under, please. And then we got the Cardinals versus the Buccaneers. Bucks are 5.5-point favorites. Just give me the Bucks on the money line. They have to start winning soon, right? Over and under is 41. I think they could go over that. And then the Monday night game, we got the Chargers versus the Colts. Chargers are 4-point favorites. Only 4. See, Chargers have a knack for keeping games close. Colts have a knack for really sucking in the second half last 2 games. Just give me Chargers on the money line. Over under is 47. I think they could probably go over that. I feel like neither defense has played extraordinary this year, but that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing as always. Until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.